Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another of your spooky sessions with me, your host, Heather Gold. Don't worry, you're not seeing double. Yes, there are two films of your spooky sessions tonight, with missing out through having sciatica and what have you. I wanted to, make good on what I've owed you as far as your spooky sessions have been concerned. And I didn't want you hanging on any longer, waiting for your the end of I was a priest in the Vatican. So that one should be up nearly with you now. And this is the second one. And tonight I am going to bring you a story of, well, it's more or less a real ghost story, but with obviously mixed up with a bit of urban legend. And the final sort of tie-up chapter that tells you, the final thoughts on Sara Baker, our resident succubus. And then that leads us to start next week with Red Fred and his wife Sandy and their two sons, Trevor and Colin, and their battle against demons, the fight for good and evil, and fighting against Lucifer and, helping Timothy, the angel. So, we'll take it up from there. But that's next week. That'll take care of itself. But for tonight, I'm going to start by bringing you our first story. And that one is called Mudhouse Mansion. And it's about a building that is in Lancaster, Ohio. So I'm about to tell you that one now. So please sit back and relax while I start your next sort of spooky sessions with the story of the Mudhouse Mansion. And I do hope that you enjoy it. Some claim that Mudhouse Mansion is a haunted house located outside of Lancaster, Ohio. According to locals in Lancaster, the house was built in the early 1800s by a government official who lived there after the Civil War. The man kept slaves in Mudhouse Mansion, even though it was illegal. It seems this man didn't abide by the law and kept his slaves locked up in an outbuilding at night. He treated his slaves very poorly, and conditions were so bad that one slave started building a tunnel underneath the wall of the outbuilding. He dug a little every night after the lights in the mansion had gone out, and the slave owner and his family had gone to sleep. Eventually his tunnel was completed, and he squeezed himself down the small opening and came up on the other side of the wall. In the dead of night, he crept towards the mansion, slipped the lock on the back door, tiptoed up the staircase, and vengefully killed everyone inside. In the morning, locals discovered what had happened, but all the slaves had escaped, and no one was ever charged with the crime. The house lay vacant for years afterwards, and neighbours heard strange groans and shrieks coming from within the empty mansion. Everyone believed it was haunted by the ghosts of the slave owner and his family. Nobody dared enter the menacing-looking building. According to local legend, a man actually did buy the house in 1892 and moved in with his wife and their 3 children. Neighbours saw the family moving in, unloading their belongings and carrying them into the house. And then Nothing. Neighbours never saw them again. The family never left the house. Neighbours thought it was very odd for a family of 5 to spend all their time indoors. When one neighbour looked out of her bedroom window, all she could make out was the figure of a woman, dressed all in white, standing at the second floor window. The figure wasn't doing anything, just standing there, staring at her. When the neighbour looked again the following day, she saw the figure again, standing in the same position. Every day, whenever the neighbour looked at Mudhouse Mansion, the figure was always there, standing in exactly the same position, giving her this unblinking stare. On the 10th day, she called the police and asked them to investigate. When policemen broke into the mansion and climbed the stairs to the second floor, they were greeted by a terrible sight. All 5 family members were hanging lifeless from the ceiling by nooses. They were all dressed in white bedclothes. It appeared that they had taken their own lives. The figure the neighbour had seen was the mother of the family, and she hadn't been standing at the window. She had been hanging there for 10 whole days. After that, nobody would live in the house, and it has remained vacant to this day. People still come to visit the old mansion, but the current owner won't allow anyone to enter the property. She is afraid that if anyone goes in, they will never come out alive. Some local children call it Mary's house and tell each other that the famous Bloody Mary of urban legend grew up there. People who live in the area say that on cold, dark nights, you can sometimes still see the figure of a woman, all in white, standing motionless at the second floor window. Sorry about the losing my words there. So, does anybody know about this Mudhouse Mansion? Have you heard of it before? Do any of you live near Lancaster in Ohio? I'm just intrigued to know, apparently from what I've read, it's supposed to be a real place. But if anybody's heard of it, lives near it, if you'd like to be able to tell us about it, I'd be really interested to find out. You can tell me what you think about it in the comments. It sounds horrifically haunted there, from all accounts. But certainly didn't get off to the best start. The man was obviously extremely ignorant and filled with hatred. I can't say that I agree with murdering, but I do understand why it was done. Anyway, on with your next story now, and this is when the last was heard of Sarah. It was a case of what happens to Sarah now. And the writer Zithero said, "Do you really want to know what happened to her?" And it was everybody, "Yes, please. We really want to know." So he wrote this next piece. And I've read it. And it's very good. And I hope you enjoy it too. This is part of I Made a Deal with God. And the person who is narrating is none other than Belial. So, without further ado, I hope you are still sitting back relaxing with your feet up, because I'm now going to read you the very wrapping up end of Sarah's story. And I do hope you enjoy this one, because Zithero's done a really good job. Greetings and salutations, filthy mortals. Be graced and in awe of thy attention, for I am the demon prince, Belial. You wish to know the fate of poor Sarah? Well, you lot are in luck. Your future God shall provide. The price, for now, free. Why do you ask? She watched my humiliation at the hands of Lucifer. Now you shall watch hers. Suffer well. The blade of pride was glorious that day. The bitch was dragged to the top by her own master Asmodai. But this is a happy tale, one of reunion, glorious reunion. Sarah knelt before Lucifer, Asmodai by her side, as she simpered and fretted. Lucifer looked disappointed. Sarah, 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 he said softly. I expected more from you. Did you even try? Sarah looked down. I did try. Lucifer shouts. The blade shook as he did so. No, do not lie to me, wench. He narrowed his eyes. You, of all people, to fail me, my inquisitor? You gave me a promise, Sarah. Promise that the succubi weren't completely useless. Asmodai chimed in. My lord, she did not choose to be summoned. Lucifer glares. Did I speak to you, Asmodai? Asmodai knelt. No, my lord. Lucifer looks to Sarah again. You remind me of that succubi are far too human. Yet again. Sarah was shaking. I'm sorry, my master. I'm sorry, my lord. Sorry. Oh, Sarah. Lucifer got down on his haunches, his hand on her head. You have failed me. So, I must do this. Sarah's teeth started to chatter. You won't be hung from the ceiling in the suspended time curse. Nor will I destroy your soul. Nor will I poison you with a purial blade, and I will not cast you into the void. Lucifer stands. But you will wish I had done all of this and more when I am done. Sorry, I just love this part. Lucifer walked off. Sarah turned to Asmodai. Master, what is he going to do to me? Please, I'm terrified. Asmodai glanced at me, then turned his back to her. I don't know, Sarah. I smiled. I do wonder. The hanging thing was... I shudder. Well, I'm curious. What's worse than that? A delightful sound rings across the blade. I know it's delightful because Sarah's face twists in pain. It's like iron dragged across concrete. It grates and shears at her delicate little human ears. I relish in her suffering, and it's not even truly begun. The chair is turned backward and it's being dragged by Lucifer. The chair has a high back, concealing who is in it. The chair is steel, rusty, and a rather unpleasant seat for most to sit on. Lucifer begins. Sara, I know you oftentimes checked the incoming for those you knew, and very rarely did you spot someone who you knew closely. Sara nods. Yes, my lord. Lucifer nods. However, you never checked on who was already here. He spins the chair around. A man wearing a gag is sitting in the chair. He struggles as his hands are tied to the base, keeping his arms straight down to his sides. Sara's eyes go wide. No. Lucifer smiles at her. Sara, it's been a long time. Say hello to your dear father. Sara shakes her head. No, he can't be. The man struggles in the chair, equally confused. I chuckled to myself. I must have been interrupting. I saw Asmodai reach for one of his swords. That can't be him. He never did anything wrong. Sara whimpers. Lucifer smiled. Didn't he now? Oh. Lucifer's hand goes onto the man's shoulder. Hank, confess. He removes the gag. Hank gags, gasping for breath, as the gag is pulled from his mouth. I lusted after my daughter. I would assault the men she dated and threaten them that if they touched her, I'd kill them. I put one kid in the hospital. Sara's eyes go wide. Lucifer adds, with your beauty, Sara. Just name another added caveat. And that was an unconscious ability of yours to instill lust in any man for your body. Sara shakes her head. No. Hank shouts. That's not my Sara. My daughter isn't one of your harlots. I laughed at this. Lucifer glared at me, then looked to Hank and looked to Sara. Let's explain some things to you, Hank. Or rather, Sara, do the honours. Sara's silent. Lucifer looks to Asmodai sternly. Asmodai looks to Sara. Explain it to him. Explain how you're a succubus. Sara's eyes are glassy as she looks ahead to Hank. When I was 13, I sold my soul to someone who told me they were an angel. Oops, I think she's talking about me. He said if I sold my soul to him, but cured a disease, he'd make me beautiful, and I could keep my soul in beauty. Sara said softly. Hank grunted. You were always beautiful. Sara frowns. I wasn't. I was an ugly kid. I had a disease, ALS. I was going to be in a wheelchair. You never had ALS, Hank says. I smile. She did, Hank, till she sold her soul to me. Then she didn't. I'm not shrugging. Hank looks to Asmodai, then to me. You sold your soul to Belial? Sara nods. after that, I was pretty. And once I got sexually mature, I had a lot of sex. Lucifer smiles. How much, Sarah? How many men in high school? Sarah frowned, her face falling. It was over 50 guys. Lucifer laughs. What a busy bee. Sarah had her eyes closed. Please, let me stop this. Lucifer glares at her. No. I went to college and I kept going. Lucifer smiles. Did you stop when Daddy died, Sarah? Sarah's eyes go wide as she looks to Asmodai with pleading eyes. Lucifer fixed Asmodai with a gaze. Asmodai looked to her. Tell him, do not lie or embellish. Asmodai must worry about his own punishment. I wonder what it is. This is all marvellous. The pair that rooted out my co-conspirators, Lucifer's own inquisitors getting their comeuppance. Oh, I love it. Sarah's lip quivers. For a week, Hank shouts. 1 week? Sarah flinches as he yells. Yes, I used the sex to cope. I was addicted to dick. I chimed in. Sarah shoots me a tearful gaze. Lucifer snapped his fingers. Sarah, attention, please. You are talking to your dear father, yes? It's been a long time since you've seen him. You have so much to tell him about. Sarah shook as she spoke again. I then kept going in college and then I found Dave and I wanted to marry him. Lucifer stopped her again. Why? We had money. It was nice. We had a promising career. Sarah whispered. Continue. Lucifer smiles. Sarah continued. I got a kid. I was knocked up and we had a shotgun wedding and I was celebrating my 21st birthday and Belial took my soul that night. He made me drink myself to death and then transmuted me into a succubus. Lucifer stands. Lastly, Sarah, how many men have you sucked and left for dead? Sarah hems and haws. Lucifer then says something odd, looking to Asmodai. Asmodai, open your eyes. Look at Hank. Asmodai does. 15, Sarah admits. Lucifer smiles. When was the last man you murdered? When was that? Sarah whimpers. It was, a few days ago. I took a man into a broom closet and drained him with sex. Classy. Lucifer smiles. Hank glares at Sarah. You're not my daughter. You're just an evil temptress who just looks like her. Lucifer looks to Asmodai. Convince him, Asmodai says weakly. Convince him you're his daughter. Sara whimpers. Ask me something only I wouldn't know. Hank glares. What was your favourite cereal as a kid? Sarah's voice cracks. I didn't like cereal. You always said it was just sugary garbage and unhealthy. I never ate cereal, even after you died. Hank's eyes flashed green for a moment, and he glared, his eyes tearing. You, Sara, you're the reason I'm in here. He struggles against the chains. I can't believe you. How could you? You destroyed me. He growled. You destroyed our family. You poor mother. Oh God, Sara, she's neither one of us. He struggles more, unable to pull himself from the chair, anger flashing across his face. I shouldn't be here, not now. You know why? Yes, I lusted after you, but you're not my daughter. I don't have a daughter. Oh, the look on her face. It's heartbreaking. Her face falls. Tears stream down and stream off her face, and she can't say a word. And dear Daddy. Oh, he tries to say one last thing. Lucifer snaps his fingers. Flames consume poor Hank. Hank screams bloody murder as flames consume his flesh, and many skeletal hands drag him down into the floor. Sara launches herself off the ground and screams, No, Daddy! She scratches at the floor where he was pulled down. She does so until her fingers are bleeding. Daddy, no! She sobs. Lucifer leans down and whispers to her. Love hurts. Always. He tilts her chin up. He will suffer twice as much for your failure, while you sit in comfort in the halls of wrath. Understand? Sara shakes her head. No, burn me. Please, please make me suffer. Tear me apart again. Hang me from the ceiling. Please, please don't punish him for my failings. Lucifer looks her in the eye coldly. Sara, where do you think you are? You are in hell, my dear. Or have you forgotten? Sara's eyes swell with tears, and her sobbing intensifies. I walk over to her and lean down face to face. I look at the tears dripping down her cheek. I lick it, tasting the salty goodness of her tears. Delicious, I mock her. Sara's too unconsolable to say much more. Lucifer looks to Asmodai. Asmodai, take her to the halls. Do not discuss your torture with her. Asmodai nods. Yes, my master. Asmodai then scoops her up and flies into the air. Lucifer looks to me. There, Belial. You have your just exchange. Now get out of my sight before I have you hanging from my ceiling again. And woe, Sara. Oh, I can still hear her cries every day. Shame, though. I never did discover how Asmodai was tortured. Lucifer promised me that I would find out. Oh, well. So ends the tale of my last uppity bitch. Farewell, mortals. See you soon. And suffer well. And that is the end of Sarah's story. You'll meet Belial again. Don't know whether you'll meet Asmodai again, but you'll meet Belial again. So there you have it, my friends. We're now all caught up to date. And I do hope that you have enjoyed your spooky sessions indeed tonight. And please let me know what you think of what happened to Sarah in the comments. You know, for all she was, you know, a succubus and what have you, Belial, he did trick her. But that's what happens if you sell your soul. You see? Never quite works out the way you think it's going to. So, if in doubt, don't sell your soul to the devil. No matter how bad it gets, don't do it. Anyway, we've now come to the end of our time together for another week. Oh! Still sitting about rather gingerly, as you can tell. The sciatica's really had a hold of me this time. So, on that happy note, I am going to thank you once again for being here with me. And thank you for watching. There's so many other, you know, spooky channels out there. You know, but do you know what? I am extremely lucky with the Haveners that we have now. And if we've had any new Haveners, then I hope you've enjoyed the first lot of spooky sessions. There's a lot of them. We've been going for over 6 months now, maybe even longer. I've lost track. We've been doing them for quite a long time. So I hope you enjoy them. If anybody's got any suggestions for anything, please speak up. I follow all suggestions, all requests. Nothing ever gets turned back or turned down, or whichever way you want to look at it. I hope you all have the best weekend that you can possibly have. So, I want to wish you a very, very good night. I do love you all, and I will see you again very soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye for now. And good night. Good night.